This is the Dart Zone TOMCAT, fantastic blaster right out of the box, but got a couple of mods to make this even better. Here we go. Hello friends, hello YouTube, how are you guys doing? Rainbow here with another Nerf Dart Blaster mod video. I really have to stop saying Nerf mod video if it's not an actual Nerf blaster. But I guess since we're in the foam flaming hobby and Nerf has just been around for so long, it's just kind of stuck in the brain. Anyways, this is a mod/review video about the Dart Zone TOMCAT. And if you haven't seen it, it's this bad boy right here. It is an absolute fantastic powerhouse pump action springer blaster with 50 dart, short dart drum, and out of the box just fantastic. But with a couple of mods you can make this even better. Before we go into the details, I would like to thank today's sponsor, because this thing got sent to me by Blastertime. Thank you very much Blastertime for sending this over so I could do a review on it and put a couple of mods in it and see how this thing actually goes. If you want to get your hands on one of those, the link is in the description to this video. And yes, it's an affiliate link, so if you click on it and buy something in the shop, I'm going to get a percentage, so you're going to be supporting the channel without even knowing. So thank you very much. Onwards with the video. So what is the Dart Zone TOMCAT? As I said, it is a short dart, as you can see right there. Short dart blaster, pump action springer with a 50 round drum. So this is a double stack drum, so it holds 25 on the first and 25 on the second round. And yeah, it is just phenomenal out of the box. You might have already seen a couple of reviews on this blaster, so I'm not going to go into detail. There's a bunch of great videos already out there about this. But basically, I just want to share some thoughts about this before we go into modding it, okay? This is a fantastic blaster, and if you have seen Captain Xavier's video about it, he says something that I really agree with. It's like, out of the box, it just feels good. It's just enjoyable to play with it. It's just like like firing this blaster. It's just nice. Like it's this weird feeling of like the thing has some weight to it, right? And so the prime also has some heft and some pull to it, and obviously the blaster delivers the hits. Like this stock configuration that I have right here is going to get you around about, I don't know, 160, 170 feet. Captain Xavier got in his video, and it's phenomenal. So if you're looking for a really nice short dart blaster that you can just pick up out of the box, don't have to do anything to it, this one is definitely one of my favorites. Like even the striker, I don't know if you remember the striker, it is this one. And yes, prototype grip on there, so eventually it'll be there. This is a fantastic blaster as well. And I really like the striker, I really enjoy playing games with it. However, this feels way better for some reason that I can't explain. Now, what do I not like about this blaster? There is a couple of things, but my biggest issue, my main issue, actually is the drum. Like, while I like the idea of having 50 short darts in a drum, you know, there's a big drum magazine, so, you know, you don't really have to reload that often in theory. The execution of this drum, I think, is not ideal. Like always, a double stack drum, you know, the first dart is actually quite nice. I'm going to hold this way. You just slide it in here and just load it like this. That's fantastic. And then you can do 25 and that's great. And that's also something that works great on the fly. If you have a dart handy, just sort of pop it in there. The problem, however, is the second dart. And I don't know if anyone in their review has actually given this, you know, a proper review on how bad the loading actually is. Like, you cannot get it in from the back on top of the other. You cannot push the other dart up and use the hole here to put the second dart in there. You have to come in from the top, and the instruction manual says you got to push it in from the top. And no matter how you do it, you're going to squish this dart quite a lot. And I'm very sorry, my dart. I'm very sorry, my dart. So if you take your short dart, this is like a brand new short dart that I'm going to sacrifice for the sake of this video, and you pop it in here, and then you can see how much space there still is. It's like 0.5 centimeter, and this is how to squish. You're actually bending it. Like it's not minor. It is massive. And if you go the other way around, you put it in the back first, you end up with the dart sticking out like here, and it's the same story because the heads won't go through here. Right, it's the same story. See how this dart is bent right there to actually get in there? If you do this too much with one dart, you know, it's just done. You probably can use it for some flywheelers. It's never ever going to fly straight again. Yes, so that's my big issue with this drum. While I do like the idea of having the capacity of this blaster, it's just not, you're not able to load it without breaking your darts. So I guess that's some design flaw. Maybe they could have changed it with, like, you know, the gap here being bigger or something like this. I don't know. If anyone of Dart Zone is watching this, I'm not sure if you are, get some work on this, because otherwise this drum's great. Also the fact that it just pops out like this, you know, you could have multiple drums. Another issue that a bunch of people have had in their reviews is that when they prime the blaster, they hit their wrist or their forearm against the drum. Now I gotta say, I have a very large wingspan-ish, but I have not hit myself with this drum at all. I can see how that might be a problem if you're like really sort of playing like this, super, I don't know, close. But when I have a pump action blaster rested on my shoulder, I have my arm out here because that's that kind of grip anyways, and then I prime backwards like so, and there's so much space between my arm and the drum. So in all the playing and in all the testing that I did, I wasn't able to replicate this issue, but I've heard of people having this issue. So I'm not saying the issue is not there. It's just I don't know, it wasn't there for me. But since I don't like the drum anyways, I was really psyched to see that there's a mod to get rid of the drum and make this blaster into a MagFed blaster. So onwards with the modding section review of the Tomcat so far done. If you want to know more, like, check out Captain Xavier's video. It's way longer, proper review about everything. And so yeah, I can highly recommend you go check this out. So there is a bunch of parts that I'm going to throw into this blaster now to make it better. Most of them are by my friend Paul from BoBoInnovations, and the other one is from Alex from DetriotDartworks. And yes, they're just going to change this blaster, some a little, some a lot, and you'll see. So first things first, this stock is great. Adjustable stock, adjustable everything, and also, you know, stock attachment point for other stocks. However, this one has a slight wobble to it, as you can see here, and here even. And so the first part that we're going to throw in there is as tiny that I can't hardly get it off the table. It's just this. It's just a little plate that sits down here. And as you can see, it is, you know, very snug just right in there. And all it does, it's just going to add a little bit more to this, and all of a sudden, this doesn't wobble anymore. Like this, because it can move, it's still sort of, you know, you can still hear that wobble, but you cannot, this one doesn't wobble anymore. And now it actually feels really, really sturdy. It's just this tiny plate. Fantastic. BoBoInnovations, great thing. Next one we're going to toss in there is actually, we're going to get rid of the drum. Yay. And we're going to make it so this one uses straight Talon magazines. So the parts for this are fairly simple, consists of 3 parts, and it's this thing as the magwell, and these 2 parts that sit on the outside, just like so. And yeah, they don't need any other hardware, it's just the printed parts, and once they're in the blaster, they fit and they don't move. The way the magazine is held in place is, you can see here, there is these 2 holes right there, and then there's those teeth right here, and they'll grab onto your Talon magazine and secure it in place. So all you do to install this is kind of just get it to hold it like so. Prime your blaster backwards, make sure that the bigger part with the hooks is in the back, and then slide it in like so, and now you can see the parts are already sort of there and in place, and you just push it up like this, and then it's in there. And it's the same way to get it out, by the way. Just prime your blaster and then just pull it out like so, and you got them back out. But we don't want to get them back out, we want to have them installed. So back in there you go. And now you can just put your magazine in here, and all of a sudden you turn this into a MagFed blaster. Awesome! And so you have no issues with the loading weirdness of the drum. Also, you can go full slim profile because you're not having the drum sticking out. You know, you can prime backwards without hurting your wrist or your forearm. This might look a little weird to some because it feels like the blaster is open here, and I remember when I first saw it, it looked a little odd to me as well. But by now I actually do quite like it, and the fact that it's open, because I thought, you know, why don't you just print it closed? But the fact that it's open actually sort of gives you like an easy way to look at your magazine, see how many darts you still got, or if you're out. And yeah, that's just great. A nifty little mod, I quite like it. So the blaster function is still the same. So it got the slam fire, got that all sorted, we got one more dart. So that's the mag mod, but there is more. So Paul from BoBoInnovation's also tackled the priming grip, and there's nothing inherently wrong with the priming grip. It works as it should. The position itself is also all right. The size is all good. However, the prime itself feels a little girthy, a little hefty if you want. There's some friction going on here, and also, as always, if you take this off because you want to have a different grip on there, it's not made for all the aftermarket foregrips. So this is what the pump grip mod looks like. It's essentially like this little sled kind of thing that sits underneath the blaster. It is 4 parts, it's these two, and then the green ones, you can see they're kind of rolls, so there is less friction. And then there's 2 different versions. So this one is for the stock grip, if you want to reuse that. And then there's another one for aftermarket pump grips if you want to put something else on there. So let's quickly slap this on, and here we go. This is what it looks fully installed. So it's pretty easy. It's just 2 screws through here. It's M3 hardware and 2 lock nuts on the side here. And then you put the grip underneath, and that is how it looks. I honestly like this look. I prefer it because the blaster itself is really beefy. It's really big, and this just adds a little bit more girth width to it if you want. And yeah, I just like this. Now, the prime itself feels like there's less friction. Paul said it is very easy. You can prime it with 1 finger. I still think with the heavy spring in here, 1 finger, you gotta have a strong finger. But it's definitely easier than just having the stock grip on there and just having the stock prime. So if you want to run this blaster in a battle, I highly recommend getting this because it's just a lot smoother. All right, now we got the stock fixed. We got the blaster with a magazine. We got the pump grip sorted. Now, the last thing I want to put on there is this. Now, what is this? This is the Accu-Nub by DetriotDartworks, and it's essentially a printed, it's not a scar because, you know, it's obviously no strings. So let's call it a P-car, which sounds weird. So it's a printed scar. So essentially this is just a printed rifling barrel to give the dart some spin. It works pretty much exactly the same like a worker scar. It's just smaller. So by comparison, let's put this down for a second. This is your worker scar. This is the Accu-Nub for the Tomcat. Just by the way, this is the same thing for the Nexus Pro and the Striker and all of that. It's a little bit bigger because you have more space. And it's also available for your standard 16mm aluminum barrel. So, for the Tomcat though, since it works with the same sort of friction fit barrels in the front, you just put this in here, and you just put it down there, and you're done. And right there, you get more accuracy on this blaster. Not that it was inaccurate to start with, but it's definitely more accurate now. No. And I really like the slick profile that this scar. It's weird saying scar because it's printed. That this printed scar gives the blaster, so it's kind of just fits with everything here. You can have it in a different color if you really want. And yeah, now this is a setup that I really like. This is how I would like to run my Tomcat in the next Nerf battle. So how about we throw a couple of darts down, I was going to say down range, but as we're in the studio, there is no real range, but we can still shoot over there. And we're out. That brings us to the last mod of this video, which is not really just a Tomcat exclusive, but since it's also from BoBoInnovations, I'd like to show it off in this video. And that is this little thing. Don't notice any different. Look at the follower, see the Elite Dart knob, see how this looks. This is a dry fire protect or leave open when no darts present device. It's a weird name. It's basically a dry fire protection that kind of stops you from fully priming the blaster when there is no dart chambered. So the way this works is, as you've already sort of seen, but now you know what to look for. You can see this sits in the magazine the other way around, and it's, by the way, uses an old Elite Dart, which is a great use because we've got tons of Elite Darts flying about that we can't use anymore because they fly like drunken bumblebees. And you just glue it into this piece here, and it sits in here. And now when you go to actually prime the blaster, the pusher will push onto this dart head, as you can see right there. Can you see? I hope you can see. Yeah, there we go. And it'll stop. You cannot fully prime this anymore. And also with the dart head being right there, it's gonna hopefully keep the pusher from breaking or taking any serious damage. And also it's gonna ensure that the printed part is gonna last a little while longer. So there's a thing you might want to keep in mind if you have a full auto, full power flywheel blaster that you want to use. That's gonna hammer on there straight up. Ouch, that actually hurt. That potentially can do some damage. So I'm using these magazines with any sort of Springer blaster, not with any sort of motorized blaster. But yeah, a little bit of common sense. And last but not least, as you could have probably guessed, all of these mods are available in my shop. So Alex from DetriotDartworks and I have been partnered up for a long time now. I got several of his parts and kits in my shop. And I'm super happy to officially announce that Paul from BoBoInnovations and I have also teamed up, so you can get a bunch of his designs and parts through my shop as well. So if you haven't done it already, go check out the links in the description below. Links to all the parts are there. And full disclaimer, I have printed my 2 different reds on this blaster in case if you haven't spotted this yet. This is the Cherry Red PLA and this is the Fire Red PLA. And you can decide for yourself which one you would rather have if you want to color match the blaster, because I tried so many times to take good pictures of that. It depends on the light, if it's real light, if it's studio lighting, if it's you know, sunlight or cloudy. They match and they won't match, and it really depends on the lighting situations. So I also got different grays. This is PETG gray, and then I have a PLA gray, which is a lot lighter in color. You can see here there's a bigger difference. It's not so big towards that, although in this light it actually looks really like a big difference. In daylight this also doesn't look that far off. Still brighter though. Just to keep this in mind, you can also go complete the other direction and, you know, print them in orange or whatever color you like. You can pick from my almost endless list of available filaments. Alright guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this mod. I can highly recommend picking up a Tomcat blaster because it's seriously fun. And then, you know, you get all these mods if you want them from my shop. Link is in the description as always. Thanks again Blastertime for sponsoring this video. And until I see you next time, happy modding, happy nerfing. Love and sunshine.